"This is a closed-door decision," my manager told me, lips curling into that smirk he wore whenever he thought he was untouchable. A week later, at the all-hands, he proudly clicked to the churn slide I once owned, the one I'd built, refined, defended. The room went silent. The CEO, seated in the front row, slowly turned, not to the screen, to him. Not with anger, with something worse. A look of pure, dawning horror. I still remember the first day I met him. Fresh promotion, new office, the title of manager freshly inked under his name. He was nervous, sweating under a suit that didn't quite fit. I taught him everything. How the metrics worked, how churn wasn't just numbers but stories, customers whispering why they were leaving, hidden inside the data if you knew where to look. He listened back then, even thanked me, called me the brain behind the department. I believed him, trusted him, foolishly. The first red flag was small, a report missing my byline, my formatting, my models, but his initials. Then, meetings I wasn't invited to, strategies I had drafted suddenly coming from his mouth, polished and passed off as his brilliance. I confronted him once. He smiled, said, "It's not personal, it's politics." That's when I knew. He wasn't incompetent, he was erasing me. Piece by piece, slide by slide, he was building a castle on the bones of my work. I didn't rage, I didn't beg, I went quiet. Quiet people terrify men like him, though they never realize it in time. I started watching. What he stole, how he spoke, where the cracks showed. Because here's the truth, it's easy to copy the surface of my work, the fonts, the colors, the slide transitions. But the models, the churn predictions, they weren't just Excel sheets. They were living organisms, coded to evolve, encrypted with dependencies only I knew. To him, they looked like numbers. To me, they were a loaded gun. I prepared my exit the way a surgeon prepares an incision, clean, precise, inevitable. I knew the exact day of the all-hands. I knew he would stand there, preening in front of 300 employees, presenting my slides as his triumph. So I made a simple adjustment. A seed buried in the formulas, a dependency hidden beneath layers he'd never bothered to check. The slide would look perfect on his laptop, smooth curves, promising numbers. But the moment it hit the company projector, the real data would surface. No disguise, no edits. Raw churn, red, bleeding across the screen, and tied, in the metadata, to my login history. Proof it was my system, my design, my truth. All he had to do was click. The all-hands was theater. He strutted across the stage like a king. Click. Revenue growth. Applause. Click. Market expansion. More applause. Click. The churn slide. Silence. The screen filled with red. Attrition spikes, lost accounts, customer pain points spelled out in unflinching clarity. Numbers no board could ignore. I watched from the back, 300 eyes shifting, murmurs rising. And then, slowly, the CEO turned in his seat. First toward the screen, then toward him. Not with anger, but horror. Realization, because the man on stage wasn't presenting strategy, he was confessing fraud. I left before the meeting ended. I didn't need to see the collapse. By afternoon, his access was revoked. By evening, word spread. Suspension pending investigation. The same colleagues who once praised his polish now whispered his name like a warning. He smirked at me once, thought betrayal was a game. But I don't play games. I build systems, and systems remember their maker. I walked out lighter than I had in years, not with bitterness, not even triumph, just clarity. He thought he had stolen my work, but the truth is simple. You can steal a slide. You can't steal the architect's signature. And every time the CEO thinks back to that day, he'll remember not the numbers on the screen, but the silence that followed and the look of horror that sealed his fate.